This content is produced by PASS, the CSLB, an independent audio first study companion for busy California B general candidates. I build these lessons from official CSLB study guide topics and reputable source-backed California materials so you can study on the go. This is exam prep reinforcement, not legal, professional, engineering, or job-specific advice. Exam content is set by PSI and the CSLB and may change, so always verify current requirements against official CSLB materials. No exam outcome is guaranteed. Now let's get into it. A tube of sealant does not earn a fire rating by itself. The completed penetration does. That is the central idea I want you to carry through this entire subject. A rated wall or floor works as an assembly. The framing, gypsum, concrete, joints, fasteners, and protected openings all contribute to its performance. The moment a pipe, conduit, cable, or duct passes through that assembly, the contractor has changed it. The opening now has to be protected by a system that has been tested for that kind of assembly and that kind of penetrating item. For a through penetration in a fire resistance rated wall or horizontal assembly, the California Building Code requires an approved penetration Firestop system tested under ASTM E814 or UL 1479. The system's flame rating must be at least as long as the required fire resistance rating of the wall or floor it penetrates. A 2-hour barrier therefore cannot be restored with a system carrying only a 1-hour flame rating. The practical supervision question is not, did somebody use fire caulk? The useful question is, does this exact installed condition match the approved listed system? Color does not answer that question. A red product can be part of a compliant system, but red is not a code rating and it is not proof of compatibility. Think of a listed system as a match set. The rated assembly is one part. The penetrating item is another. Its material and size matter. The opening and the annular space around the item matter. The backing material, fill material, installed depth, and required performance ratings matter as well. Suppose a crew has an approved detail for a metal pipe through a concrete floor. Then the field condition changes to a plastic pipe, but the crew keeps the same sealant because the tube was already approved on the submittal. That is not a minor product swap. The penetrant itself has changed, so the original listed configuration may no longer apply. The correct move is to stop at that location and verify a listed system that matches the actual condition. The same reasoning applies when the pipe diameter changes, the wall construction changes, the opening is larger than the listed range, or the specified backing is missing. I do not want you memorizing a brand or a color. I want you checking whether every important component still matches. I put a verification checklist on screen because this is the cleanest way to supervise the work. Start with the rated assembly and its required rating. Match the penetrating item's material, size, and quantity. Check the listed minimum and maximum annular space. Confirm the backing material and its required placement. Confirm the exact fill material and installed depth. Then verify the ratings required by the approved plans and applicable code. That checklist also explains why improvisation is risky. A product can be tested and listed, yet still be wrong for the condition in front of you. The listing belongs to the complete configuration, not to the tube in isolation. I use a puzzle piece memory connection here. The assembly, penetrant, opening, backing, and fill are pieces of one puzzle. If one piece changes, do not force it into the old picture. Find the approved configuration that fits the field condition. For a general B contractor, this is mainly a coordination discipline. The specialty installer follows the listed installation instructions. The general B contractor makes sure the approved detail, actual, rough opening, trade material, and inspection sequence agree before the work disappears behind finishes. The rating letters tell you what the tested system actually demonstrated. They are related, but they do not mean the same thing. The F rating is the flame rating. It measures how long the system prevents the passage of fire and flame to the unexposed side, while meeting the required hose stream portion of the test. Under California Building Code Section 714.4.1.2, that rating must not be less than the required fire resistance rating of the wall or floor being penetrated. The T rating is the temperature rating. It addresses heat transfer to the unexposed side, The reported test criterion limits the temperature rise to no more than 325 degrees Fahrenheit above ambient. This distinction matters because a metal penetrant can conduct heat even when flame has not passed through the opening. Blocking flame and limiting temperature rise are different performance questions. The L rating addresses air leakage through the penetration system at ambient and elevated temperatures. That becomes relevant when smoke control or leakage performance is required. The W rating addresses resistance to water under a specified pressure. It is not a universal base requirement for every penetration, so I would verify it only where the project requirements call for it. The reference table separates those four designations. F is flame passage. T is temperature rise. L is air leakage. W is water resistance. The field lesson is not to demand every letter on every system. The field lesson is to identify which ratings the applicable code, approved plans, and listed system require for that specific condition. Here's the memory connection I use. F asks whether flame gets through. T asks how hot the other side becomes. L asks how much air leaks through. W asks whether water gets through under the stated test pressure. 4 letters, 4 different questions. Do not let the extra ratings distract from the firm rule in this lesson. The Firestop system's F rating must equal or exceed the required fire resistance rating of the assembly it penetrates. That is the anchor. The other ratings are verified as the condition requires. A through penetration passes through the full thickness of an assembly. A membrane penetration reaches only one side. A steel electrical box recessed into one face of a rated gypsum wall is the familiar membrane penetration example. For qualifying steel electrical boxes in a fire resistance rated wall, the California Building Code provision allows an individual box no larger than 16 square inches. The annular space between the wall membrane and that box cannot exceed 1/8 inch. Those are precise limits, not rough targets. That 1/8 inch gap is easy to miss because the box itself may look properly placed. The defect can be in the drywall cut. If the opening is routed too generously, the gap around the steel box no longer fits the stated allowance. Covering the edge with a finish plate does not change the concealed opening in the rated membrane. The box reference table puts the field checks together. Confirm the qualifying steel box is no larger than 16 square inches. Confirm the membrane gap is no more than 1/8 inch. For boxes on opposite sides of the wall, confirm at least 24 inches of horizontal separation unless an applicable, approved exception is used. I would never extend those numbers to every box and every assembly without checking the approved condition. A non-metallic box, a larger box, a different wall construction, or another listed protective method needs the detail that applies to it. The code allowance is not permission to generalize beyond its conditions. The supervisory advantage comes from timing. Box size and location are easiest to correct during rough work. The membrane gap is easiest to catch before finish plates and paint hide the edge. A short check at the right time is worth much more than a perfect photograph after the condition is concealed. Opposite side boxes deserve their own check. When steel electrical boxes occur on opposite sides of a fire resistance rated wall, the stated rule requires at least 24 inches of horizontal separation. Putting them directly back to back in the same cavity does not meet that separation. The research identifies approved paths when the separation cannot be maintained. The cavity can be filled with mineral wool, solid fire blocking can be used, or both boxes can be protected with listed putty pads. The selected exception still has to match the applicable, approved detail. This is not permission to stuff an unspecified material behind one box and call the problem solved. Fire stopping, fire blocking, and draft stopping also need clean vocabulary. Fire stopping protects specific penetrations through fire resistance rated assemblies with an approved tested system. Fire blocking limits the free passage of flame within concealed building spaces, using the materials and locations allowed for that purpose. Draft stopping subdivides larger concealed spaces to restrict air movement. Those terms sound related because all three deal with hidden paths, but their locations and functions are different. If a plan calls for fire blocking inside a concealed cavity, a tube intended for a listed penetration system is not automatically a substitute. If a rated pipe penetration needs fire stopping, a scrap of lumber placed near the opening is not a listed penetration system. Acoustic sealing is another separate requirement. A sealant specified to preserve sound isolation is not automatically a Firestop, and a Firestop product is not automatically an acceptable acoustic seal. Some products may serve more than one function when the tested assembly and listing support that use. The contractor still verifies each required performance rather than assuming one product covers everything. Smoke and sound take advantage of openings that may look insignificant. The control strategy, however, must stay tied to the approved assembly rather than to guesswork. Common interior walls and floor ceiling assemblies separating adjacent dwelling units must achieve the required sound transmission class as determined under the referenced ASTM test methods. Penetrations can weaken that performance by creating air paths or by changing the tested assembly. The field response is to follow the approved acoustic assembly details, use the specified compatible sealant, and keep the work available for verification before concealment. An acoustic concern does not erase the fire concern. An outlet location can affect both the rated wall and its sound separation. The clean approach is to coordinate both requirements at rough-in, not repair one while unknowingly compromising the other. Mechanical dampers bring a different kind of penetration coordination. Mechanical, electrical, and plumbing controls cannot be routed through fire dampers, smoke dampers, or ceiling radiation dampers unless the manufacturer and the listing specifically permit it. A thermostat wire may look too thin to matter, but if it crosses the blade path, it can mechanically interfere with closure. Imagine a technician using an open damper as a convenient route for low-voltage control wire. The wire saves a little routing time, but the damper now has an unapproved obstruction. The correction is not to decide by eye that the blade will probably close. The correction is to reroute the control outside the blade path or use only a configuration specifically permitted by the manufacturer and listing. That example connects the whole episode. The wire, damper, and listed configuration have to work together. A small trade shortcut can change the performance of a much larger protective assembly. Some projects require special inspection of penetration fire stops by an approved agency under ASTM E2174. The research identifies high-rise buildings, risk category 3 or 4 structures, and group R fire areas with an occupant load greater than 250 among the triggering conditions under California Building Code, Section 1705.18. The important General B decision is sequencing. Determine early whether special inspection applies. Coordinate the approved agency. Keep the Firestop work visible at the required stage. Record approved system information and corrections. Concealing the work before the required observation can lead to exposure, delay, and rework because the finished surface may prevent verification. Normal project photographs can support documentation, but they do not automatically replace a required special inspection. The approved inspection process controls. I would put that requirement into the schedule instead of leaving it as a note buried in a submittal. Renovation adds a separate safety issue. Older mastics and sealants around existing penetrations may contain asbestos. Appearance, color, and hardness do not provide a reliable field answer. Before a crew drills, scrapes, sands, or removes suspect material, the contractor has to follow the applicable OSHA requirements, including proper evaluation, trained personnel, required controls, and personal protective equipment under Title 8, Section 1529. I would treat that as a stop and verify condition. Do not turn a penetration repair into uncontrolled disturbance of suspect material. Hazard assessment and required work practices belong ahead of demolition, not after dust is already in the air. The best coordination starts before anybody opens the rated assembly. Identify each rated wall and floor. Compare the penetration schedule with the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing layouts. Confirm the actual penetrating material and size. Make sure the approved listed system is available to the installer. Resolve conditions that do not match before installation. During rough work, check that trades have not enlarged openings for convenience, changed pipe materials without review, crowded several items into a system listed for a different quantity, or routed controls through a damper. At the membrane stage, check box size, membrane gaps, opposite side locations, and any required listed protection. Before concealment, confirm that required inspections and corrections are complete. Consider a hypothetical project where a plumber runs out of the specified sealant and substitutes a generic red fire caulk. The color looks right and the surface finish looks clean. The approved system, however, calls for a different fill material and a specific backing configuration. The likely result is rejection and rework once the installed condition is compared with the listing. The better decision is to pause that penetration, obtain an approved matching system or authorized substitution, and document the resolution before continuing. That is not paperwork for its own sake, it is control of concealed work. Once the ceiling closes or the second layer of gypsum goes on, verification becomes slower, more expensive, and sometimes impossible without opening finished construction. I want you to remember a simple supervision sequence. Match before installation. Inspect before concealment. Document before closeout. Each sentence points to the same principle. The completed protection must match the approved system, and the project record must show that the required process was followed. Here is the final memory check. Red does not mean rated. A listed product is not enough unless the complete installation matches the listed system. The F rating must at least match the fire resistance rating of the penetrated assembly. A qualifying steel box is limited to 16 square inches with no more than 1/8 inch around the membrane opening. Opposite side steel boxes need 24 inches of horizontal separation, unless an applicable approved exception protects the condition. Controls stay out of damper blade paths unless the manufacturer and listing specifically permit them. This is a testable concept based on the CSLB study guide because it sits directly inside insulation, acoustical, weatherproofing, code compliance, and field inspection work. I would approach any practice problem by asking what assembly is rated, what penetrates it, what approved system applies, and what must remain visible before inspection. I made an audio practice quiz for this specific episode's material. It is audio-based. The questions are read aloud, and you answer by tapping. So it works for people studying while driving, working, or otherwise on the go. Go to the description below this video. You will see a link that says Pass the CSLB. Tap it. It will take you straight there. Comment below with any questions about anything I covered. Subscribe so I can help you stay on track through every episode until you get your license. I know you are fitting this study around real work and real responsibilities, and I am here to keep guiding you until you finish.